So, how's your day today?
Long, as usual, for research.
True. Cheers.
Oh, cheers. There we go.
All right.
Another episode.
Another episode of Off the Clock.
Numero dos.
Yep. Thank you guys for tuning in to Off the Clock. Again, it's a clinical research podcast where you get to chill, relax with us while we talk about clinical research
And
from the
randomness.
sponsor, from the site side, with a little humor because of our
randomness and-
sibling rivalry, in a sense. And then, yeah, so grab a drink with us and let's enjoy the day.
And like I said before, if we're in your city, grab a drink with us. No problem.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Come join us right now. No, I'm kidding.
If you're in Miami.
Okay.
Anyways, so topic for the day. You decide this time. I decided last time. Sponsor's turn.
Source documents.
Source documents.
So let's start with a little bit of background on my
One of the most
experience.
important things in research is source documents, I think, because
Yeah.
it's the data that you need to make the study successful. So it has to be accurate, it has to be on point, it has to be exactly. So why not have a template that everybody uses as a sponsor? Why not set out your own source documents to all the sites? This is what you got to do, period. That way everything is the same. Why?
Because then when FDA audits a site and sees that the source documents are missing things, then it's our fault. When in reality, we're only supposed to give you the template and you're supposed to add whatever else you think is missing from it.
So last episode we talked about me. Let's talk about you this episode and your experience and
Okay.
on your side. Let's see.
Well, first I want to start, our childhood. And I never thought that we would get to, where we are, in a sense.
Even though we're not
No, but even
from where
even
we're at.
what we have
Yeah.
now, I would have never pictured it.
No.
You remember we used to eat ramen noodles?
Broken homes and
Remember we used to eat
Yeah.
ramen noodles straight for weeks
Yeah.
because we couldn't our mom couldn't really afford much else and stuff. So watching her.
Not say nothing about our dad.
No.
Our dad did he did
didn't
pay
know.
his stuff.
Yeah, and he didn't know that it was
he worked
what
a
we were
lot.
going through.
Not counting him, but our mom did go through a lot.
Yeah.
When we were growing up.
Yeah, and seeing her come out and still want to build that business, and she did it for us because she was already in her 50s or so.
Yeah.
When she started it, so this
62, yeah, in her 50s.
yeah, this gave us an opportunity that I really never thought that we would have.
Yeah.
I remember when we started the site, because remember it was mom and I first. I was working 3 jobs. Remember, I was working at Fridays.
No, a bartender, a waitress.
No, a
hostess,
waitress.
yeah.
I was working as a waitress at Fridays, and then remember I was working at MRI Place,
Mm-hmm.
and I was helping her. And it was hard. I remember doing all of that so I could help her pay the mortgage and stuff like that. So we wouldn't. Remember that was
the
when
rent, yeah.
that was close to when everybody was losing their house because of the depression.
Yeah, but right after 2008. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right after
2010.
that. So
yeah.
it was a crazy time for her to want to
Crazy
do it.
time.
And I
Crazy time.
look back and I'm like, gosh, and I don't have a lot. That's the crazy part. I don't have a lot. But even in my wildest dreams, I never thought that we would have what we have. And it's all because of clinical research.
Do you think that if you were in mom's mom's shoes at that point, where you are now, would you be able to do what she did for us?
No. No, sometimes.
That's what's impressive.
And if you think about it, we were so hard
shouting
on her.
out our mom.
Yeah.
But man, that was impressive.
Yeah.
What you were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
You know, from nothing
What
and where we got to where we are now.
what an example.
You know, 14
right?
years later, and we appreciate you more than anything.
Like what
You
an
know, I mean,
example, because like
and still in the research thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you haven't wavered.
No,
you know,
and, like-
the minute you got into research, you have not left that site because she was in home health care before research.
Yeah.
You know, home health care before, and then she ended up finding a job in a research place, and like that's where we grew up.
And
All
she
the
learns
teacher work
literally
days, we
everything
were
by
in.
herself.
We
Yeah.
were in all the teacher work days. We were in a research site.
Exactly. We basically grew up in research.
My 12-year daughter took her first steps at our site.
Yeah.
Literally, we have video. My 2-year-old, she was 2 years old. She took her first steps. No, she wasn't 2 years old. I'm lying. People don't.
No.
Kids don't walk at
kids
2
don't
years
walk
old.
at 2. At 1.
She took her first steps at our site.
Yeah.
The,
Nikki's kids too.
yeah,
And then
the-
Jordan.
we grew up at. Well, my mom had already. She had other jobs, but when she got into research, we were already a little older than our kids are now. But our kids all got indoctrinated into research.
Remember when I gave birth, a week later I was already back working at the site with my kid with
Yeah.
me. I would work with
I
him
know,
there.
yeah, I remember, and Nikki's too.
Nikki
Nikki's
too, yeah.
both of them.
It's
They all
just,
know. They've all. Well, my oldest hasn't because she was before that, but the rest of the.
Yes, she did. She was there the whole time.
She was there after she was born.
No, when
she was
when
born
she-
2008.
I
So
know,
after
but like
a
she
couple
was
years,
2. I
she
remember her
started.
going with us in the beginning.
Her
Yeah.
mom is
Worked
in
with us
research
too.
because of us.
Yes, because
So-
of mom.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
research is for us is all we really
Everything.
know.
Yeah, and
You guys know because I was
mechanics,
a
yeah.
mechanic. I'm a car guy.
But I'm
you
just
guys-
like I
and now
sometimes
me.
I think and I'm like in awe because like even times like when things happen personally and I'm like I feel like I can't even be a mother right now, and like it's hard sometimes. And then mom did, and like she kept going and she kept
Yeah.
fighting, and it didn't matter how hard it was.
Because you have no other choice. When you're a
No, I
mother, you have no
know.
other choice. Either you
It's
fight
just-
or your kids go somewhere
it's
where
just
you don't
like-
want them to go.
How inspiring, like that
Exactly.
we came from absolutely nothing. Remember, she wasn't born here. She was an immigrant, like
Yeah.
Papi was an immigrant.
Green card, yeah.
And they made
Aliens.
something so amazing of themselves. And it's
Both
not
of
like,
them individually, and then
yeah,
now.
and then it's not like we're rich because we're not. But like
not there.
we've never even thought that we would be where we're at right now.
Now we're not in
No,
this.
and
no.
it's all because of her sacrifices.
And if considering what we went through with before COVID, when we first started,
Yeah.
and then after when COVID happened,
oh my gosh, that was rough.
we were all essential personnel. We were all there
Yeah, we
throughout the whole thing.
And we never got the recognition of being
No.
essential, even though like because
No.
nobody really knows about clinical research.
They don't, and that's what got those vaccines and all this stuff
Approved. That's
approved,
what
and
exactly
we're the cornerstone of every
of the health crisis in general. Like imagine
not
if
just
we didn't
COVID,
have antibiotics.
flu, and
we
and
didn't
the
have
only reason
antibiotics.
all of that is because of research.
Yeah. So
And that's my interest in research is the science of it.
Yeah.
I'm more of the science type.
And I'm more of, like, the people.
She's more the
Saving
emotional
the people,
people.
you know.
I like the numbers. I like the science. I'm a physics science guy. So for
Yeah.
me, it's more like I want to figure out, subject this and this and this. It's more like personable, like
Yeah.
all
Patients still
right,
bring
so
me gifts.
An example is you had a patient where the medication in the trial was so good that when the trial finished, they wanted to stay on the medication, and we were able to talk to the FDA and get them
Yeah.
the medication
I made
that
a
they
protocol and
needed.
ICF and everything.
we got them, and that's the.
He still has my number and still texts
Look, I
me.
get goosebumps.
Thank you.
This is
till this day.
This is the thing the research does.
Yeah.
It brings. He had a bad case of OCD, and now because of
Yeah.
the medication in the trial, he wanted to keep taking it because it worked for him so
Yeah,
well.
and he said that
Look, I got goosebumps.
without it, he wouldn't have been able to live a normal life.
Yeah, I mean, this is what research
Yeah.
does. Like, they say in
He's probably going to be watching this, so I just
Li-
want to tell you that we appreciate you as much as you appreciate us.
like and they said in the Marvel show, The Shield, there's no discovery without experimentation.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, and it's true. Unfortunately, it was the Hydra side, which is the bad side, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
take away from being real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you know? You can only run a certain amount of simulations before you have to actually try and see if the simulations
Yeah.
actually come to fruition. Because simulation is an estimate, is a prediction.
Yeah.
It's not what actually happens, and the subjects are so different. Every subject is different with different things that you get a broader or spectrum of
Yeah.
the results according to their different,
And that's why they want
different data.
the
you know what I mean?
diversity in trials and
Exactly.
stuff, because it's crazy. Because I remember doing, when we were at the site, I remember doing a hypertension trial, and
I think I remember this
it
one.
was pretty good. It worked really well on most patients, but there was this African American patient, and it just would not lower his blood pressure, and it's like.
But it works for most of the other ones, and this is what we need to know.
And that's why they want minorities in studies, because like
the
the
trials
drug
and-
profile
yeah.
doesn't work the same
with
on
everybody,
a
because
Hispanic
everybody's different,
or on like
Exactly.
African American or on like an Asian or like so it's like it's so important, and that's why like
we're all human, but everybody's different. Everybody has their
and I feel
differences.
like these things are what make me like so good at what I do. My love for it, because you remember there was a time that I hated research.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, it's so tedious, like da 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 da.
Yeah.
But when those patients like thanked me, they called me their angel, or they said all these things, like it made me like understand the love that
the
I
research
had
and
for it.
and the necessity of it.
And now
there's no forward, there's no future without researching and trying. I mean, just be real.
And I think what I love the most
Just be real.
is like I'm able now not only to do it for the patients, because if the study is not successful, I mean, the patients don't get the drug, but I also get to help the sponsors, the people that are investing the money for
to
these
want
patients.
to get better, to come up with
And
some
like
life-saving
being able to
medication
help
and whatnot.
them change people's lives, it like really drives me. And that's why I do, like, I go over and beyond every time. I'm not just a project manager. I become the CTM, I become the CRA, I become the CTA, I become everybody on
All right,
the
so
study.
how about this? This is a controversial subject in clinical research. What do you feel about placebos in like cancer subjects, where either they get the medication that can help them, or they think they're getting their medication and it's a placebo that does nothing?
So in my case,
What is your opinion? No, not your case, your opinion.
Like, I haven't seen a study, a cancer study, where they have placebo.
Because where I read, the FDA did stop that, and it made it, instead of being a placebo, it's the closest medication to it.
Okay.
To compare it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, that fixed the ethical conundrum about that. You know what I mean? Because you can't give somebody that needs the medication, telling them to stop taking their medication that's helping them, and maybe they get a placebo where they're going to downfall.
But then
you know what I mean?
How do you know what works better? How do you know if it really works?
Instead of doing a placebo, doing a medication that they're already doing, a comparison, because and those certain trials.
Yeah.
This is something we've never discussed. This is brand new, raw, uncut.
I actually
discussion that this is brand new for us.
I actually think placebo is I understand it, but it's a problem. So like we've had studies where like there was a placebo arm and then there was the regular drug. But like people won't even join the study for that possibility that they're not getting the drug.
If they say it might be placebo.
Yeah, and it's like it's true. It's like so then they require them to be on like a standard of care medication just in case. But then it's like that's already not working for them. So what benefit?
Why they're joining the study.
Yeah, what benefit do they get? So then it really comes down to that. Like if we don't have the placebo, how do we know it's really the drug working or it's just in their mind? Because that's what the whole thing of placebo
That's
effect.
what the placebo thing is supposed to be.
So it's like it's one of those things that it's like it's so crucial to the data, but I could definitely understand where it's like it could deter the patient from wanting to do it.
Me being on the science point of view, you need the placebo. You need the yes and no, and to get your ones and zeros, and you know you need that data.
Yeah, you need it.
In my point of view, it doesn't reflect anything else because I'm more
But that's why
science-wise, mentally,
but that's why they want it to be blinded most of the time, because like,
which is good.
they're able to, I don't know, the site doesn't know, nobody knows, and it's able to like just
differentiate between
leave it the way that it is, and
the
like
fakers
nobody knows
and the real deal.
Exactly, nobody knows, and it's kind of like, you know, and I think it's really important for the data.
I like research for the discoveries, the new stuff, the nitty gritty behind the drug.
It's so crazy
That's what I like.
because like being from a site, I was able to see things like medically and stuff like that. And even though I'm not a doctor or anything like that, I've seen trends.
Been in the field
I've
for a
seen
while,
stuff. So like sometimes now when I'm talking to a medical monitor and they're like, oh, well, this, I'm like, well, from my experience, I've seen. And I feel kind of like, not that I'm smart because I know it, but like I kind of feel like
because you went through it, experience that you've had, like this medical, is, you know, I've seen this, and you know, this is what I found in it.
And you remember, I would always ask the PIs and like the investigators questions, and like they'll look at an ECG. Remember, I'd be like, okay, but what does this line say?
Why is it separated so much? What does that mean that it's separated?
You remember, I used to always bother.
But that probably what makes you such a good the research goat. That's gonna be, it's gonna stick. The research Wikipedia or the research goat. That's gonna be you.
But because it's so funny. Mom used to hate it. Remember, I used to be like, okay, but why do I have to initial and date the consent?
Because they wanted to.
And
that's what they said.
She would just be like, because just do it.
That's what they said. That's
and
it.
I'd be like, no, but if I understand why they want it, it's easier for me to remember
and
to do
explain to people why you need it a certain way.
Exactly.
Like, I need you to sign it this way, you know, because if you don't sign it the date this way,
document when you changed it, that it was really
an
you.
initial and all.
Exactly.
We know the side knows all that about signature and dates. We all know that.
It's not that she wanted to tell me, because she did. It was just like one of those things that.
Well, she instilled it before you knew why, which is good practice for new people starting, because you get them started the right way.
But now I know exactly what to tell people when they ask, and I think this is a good way to go into the topic of source docs, right? Because I feel like source docs is so important. Like, how you set up your source docs could set you up for failure or could set you up for winning.
Because you're giving crucial documentation and data that they really need, that it's needed, you know?
If you miss something, let's say I know the protocol, you know the protocol, but I might know something in the protocol that you don't know, that you didn't read, that you didn't pay attention to.
Okay.
So like, if I don't put that detail in my source documents that you're gonna, let's say, do, how are you going to know to do it? Like, you would have to literally have the protocol and reading it every time a patient's there. So like, putting all of that in your source documents, oh my God, it helps you avoid protocol deviations.
Why does the sponsor CROs not have a source document that you want everybody to use? Look, this is what I want on each visit. This is the information I need. This is the data I need for everything.
It's pretty simple. So I believe it was Eli Lilly, or there was a company that did provide source documents for a study, and then sites ended up getting FDA audited, and there was a finding because the source documents didn't provide all the information. FDA,
but
it didn't provide all the information that the study needed. But so the site's argument was the sponsor provided the sources. So what happened is it ended up being a finding for the sponsor. So what happens? Now the sponsor's not going to make it anymore, because they're not going to be responsible for that.
You're passing the buck.
I mean, to know,
you guys are passing the buck.
When we make a template, it's not like, okay, this is it. No, it's like, here's what we want, add what you think is needed.
But this is your study. It's your study. This is what you want from this study.
I know, but remember that we're still humans that did it.
So like, it's also humans that you want us to do in the site side.
Yes.
But you guys are the ones that you want this information. You want this and this and this and this. So why not give that to the site so that they provide you that? Why make us guess what you want?
Well, we don't make you guess. We give you a protocol and we give you the ECRF guidelines. And the ECRF guidelines is basically everything you have to enter.
So you as a sponsor, here's a question. You as a sponsor, would you not want the same source documents from all your sites, or do you want random ones and you have to go and look for the information, or you want something that's symmetrical and what on your site? What this is what every site in the United States and the world wants to know about source docs. Go. You're on the spot. Don't now.
I think we want the sites. That's why we're hiring you. That's why we negotiate a budget with you, and that's why we give you most of the time what you guys are asking for, because we're expecting, with your experience at a site level, to know from the protocol what it is that's needed in the source. From a medical standpoint, remember, most of the people at a sponsor
Are not medical.
are not doctors, they're not this, and that's why everything is supposed to go through the investigator, because the investigator is supposed to read the protocol, and then they're supposed to basically delegate who they think is trained enough, qualified enough to do the task, right? So if he's saying this person's delegated to write source documents, and he trained them on the protocol, his experience is what we're relying on, because if not, we would just do the study ourselves. We would get the patient ourselves.
So you're
but
relying on
relying
people.
on the site.
Exactly.
Just like a sponsor relies on a CRO, on their experience.
Exactly.
On
So
running a
you're
study.
relying
So we're
on
relying on you guys and your
people.
documentation.
But if
to-
you already know
to
what you
give
want,
us what we need.
if you already know what you
We're
want,
giving you the
why not
protocol.
tell me, look, this is what we
We're
need.
giving you the protocol. That's what we need.
This is what we need, and let's make every site have the same source.
But in the
so
in
find
the protocol,
the best site that you have that makes the best sources
no,
for the monitors
we
and all that
can't.
stuff,
You
and,
make something
make it
universal,
for everybody.
but you make it universal, and then
Make it
there's a mistake.
No, they
and then
need
it's
to have
on
this
you.
documentation. No, because you're the sponsor. You know
We're
what you
paying.
need. You're the sponsor. You know what
So
you
part
need
of the
for the
startup
study.
cost is source document
Okay.
creation. That's
Okay.
part of the startup cost.
So
we're paying you to do it.
But if a site has, if a site can be reprimanded for not the source documents not being right, why wouldn't the sponsor provide a source document that is sufficient for them?
Okay, I'll give you.
It would make it a lot easier.
I'll give you a couple of things.
The only thing
right?
I can imagine is for different cities have different diversity of
Standard of
patients,
care.
standard
There's
of care.
different
That's the
regulations.
only thing I can see in different states.
But,
states have
okay,
different things.
so
but other than that,
the
why
whole-
not have
okay.
a basic template
But
and then
the
if
whole
for your
purpose-
city just add a thing or
No,
remove
but the
a
whole
thing?
purpose of a protocol is to tell you what we want. I don't understand how that is blurred.
So it's like.
The whole purpose of the protocol is that.
So there's memes that to understand a girl is. So like the sponsors are like guys trying to understand women. You need a thing to make a page that's this big,
Look,
or this is what they want, because no guy understands what a woman wants. So it's like no site understands what a sponsor truly wants.
But it's in the protocol. And look,
It's,
I am the first one to say that protocols are written so terrible.
Oh my God, and
I
all
am
the
the
amendments
first
and
one.
we messed up here, let's fix it here. If you got a deviation here for this protocol and we fixed it here, you still get the deviation here, even though you did what we wanted, and then we fixed it. But now it's okay, even though we did the same thing here, but you didn't know you wanted it here, and we got deviated, and then you guys changed that, got an amendment for the protocol that added what we did, the sites, and now it's okay. But but we have a deviation because of doing something the right way.
So trust me, I'm the first person.
So tell me,
I'm the first person to talk about that, because I remember when I was at the site, and
you sure you can remember that far back?
I was doing something for a study, and I remember telling them, this is gonna unblind the medication, right? They said to do it the way that they said.
And
anyways.
Who was the one that was bad? You guys.
No.
Not the sites.
They changed the whole protocol, right?
You guys. Yeah.
But guess who still got deviations?
We did.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm trying to.
But I made them change the whole protocol.
That's the point I'm trying to prove.
So it's like.
But then the deviations are still in your record. Like you messed up when in reality the protocol was messed up.
Okay, so this is the
Why
thing.
are we at fault?
No, but that's the thing.
Why are we at fault?
You have.
I'm speaking for everybody.
Okay, and let me talk.
Why are we at fault?
Oh my God. Let me know when you're gonna let me talk.
Talk.
All right. Now I forgot my train of thought. No, I'm kidding. But
Deviations and...
I know. Because in that protocol, that wasn't the way to do it, right? So yeah, they have to document it. But you have a say on how it's worded. I don't know if anyone knows that. The sites have a say of how it's worded. Sites have a say on...
It's like, hey,
like
this
when
is
it's
not
reported to the IRB,
this is
how it's reported.
Yeah, like this is not gonna work right. You know, we need to fix something.
Yeah.
But we still get deviations, and it still counts against us.
Just think
after
about
the
it.
fact.
It's not against you. Think about it.
We fix your guys' protocol,
No, but
and we
listen.
get deviations because
Okay,
deviations
I
in the
think
world of research is
at
bad.
a site level.
Site level, yeah.
At a site level.
Exactly,
But,
and this is the way we view
but
deviations.
if you really think about it in a technical term, you like science, right? Technically,
I know.
it's just that
And
there was a deviation.
I know, and
from the protocol.
the simulation that you ran.
No, and for the sake of the research and to
didn't go,
save
there's something that you didn't expect.
and to save the credibility of the data, it needs to be reported so that
It needs to
they know, hey, look, this wasn't done this way, but the data is
better
still
this way. Yeah,
good.
Still good, and we should look for this and that, and you know,
Now,
I understand that.
Those kind of protocol deviations do not ding
backward.
you. No, the ones that
There you go, guys.
The ones that ding are the major ones. The ones that ding are the ones that it's like
What's the worst ones for you guys?
ICF and medication.
ICF and medications, like giving the wrong
Or
medication,
or safety, something safety with the patient. Like, forget it. Think about it. ICF is basically the patient saying, yeah, hey, I want to do it.
Yeah.
They fill that out wrong. Like, we
if
can
they didn't
trust.
understand it or something, but
like,
they
we
signed
can
at
trust,
the end of the day
but
they read it.
But how do we know it's their signature? Like, sometimes the everything is like so like scritch, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
but if
like scritchy scratch, it's like it's not
scratch.
really
But at the
legible,
same time,
right?
if you make volunteering to be a subject in a trial, you can't make it to the point where it's so frustrating and hard that, you know, people are not going to want to volunteer to be a subject. You know what I mean?
No, actually,
so
we're not supposed to. We're supposed to make it in a way that the subject understands. It has to be comprehensive in their educational level.
But
so what they do is they do it in like the
educational level.
Yeah, actually, it has to be
There's
so like
an educational level.
So they have to write the consent as like someone who's not medical or someone who doesn't have like the same
lingo and
understanding. Yeah. So what they do is they put it at the easy way to
Basic
understand.
English.
So very comprehensive where like a wide range of people can understand it.
All right. And then they come up with the languages.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's how the informed consent. So it, like, okay, I understand. Like the initials on every page. I'm so glad they did away with that because that was like the worst. I don't know. Like I remember.
And if any little thing,
then they had to cross out
it.
Initial date.
Initial date.
Oh my
and the
God.
date has to be
and the patient would
way.
never do it the right way.
Never,
and then
even though you tell them the next page, they will do it the other way again. And trust me.
Like not for nothing.
On the site, this is the most frustrating thing.
Not for nothing, but I thank God for electronic source.
Yeah.
Because that kind of did away with it.
Electronic helps a lot, man.
Oh my God, I remember, and then the patient would be like, you know what, I don't even want to do the study anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's too much work.
Oh my God.
It's too much work for what I'm going to get out of it.
Oh my God, I used to have patients tell me that it was like worse than buying a house.
It's like having a job,
Worse than buying a house.
You have to sign so many papers. Yeah, it's more than buying.
They're like, what am I do? You're selling my soul? Like, it literally feels like that.
It does, but they have to have a great understanding on what they're signing for and what they're going to.
I'm so glad they did away with that initial and date on the bottom of the page because that was so bad.
It was serious.
But
and especially when you have those consents that are like 70 pages and 50 pages and they didn't vote on one and they have to sign it with a new date and this and that and scratch off a certain way.
I remember when you would make copies and sometimes the copy machine would like miss a page. So then the monitor would be like, hey, page 12 is missing.
It's not in the chart.
Did the patient read that page?
It's not in the chart.
It's just like, oh my God, no, it's when we made the copy, it got stuck and we just didn't realize that page 12 was It's like, oh my God, the little things. But if you think about it,
They need all the
how do you
data, and they need to make
confirm-
sure that the patient knows. And I
Exactly.
understand that everybody
So,
understands.
and that's
We
my
understand
biggest
that.
thing with source documents is like, even if it's the smallest thing, just document it. Just put it.
I still think there should be a universal source doc. When you put out a protocol, put out your source docs. Like, this is what the information that we want you to retrieve.
So yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Have a good day.
Let's go.